Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, outsiders of all ages, welcome in, whether you're enjoying us on Thursday at 10 a.m. when we debut or whenever you chill out with the outsiders. We are here, missing an outsider right now. Don't worry, he's got a very good reason, and we will get to that after we remind you that it is the Outsiders brought to you by Poncho. We're going to give you a little sneak peek. Here at the beginning, it is a little sneak peek of a legend that loves Poncho. That's right, Willie's favorite. No, not that Willie. That Willie. Yep, Willie Robertson of Duck Dynasty. The man loves a Poncho shirt. He's outside like 99.6% of his life. So who better to trust for what shirt to wear outside? Coming up a little later, we are going to show you the favorites of Willie Robertson. That's a little tease. That's what we call a tease in the business. We will get to that. We are the Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho, PonchoOutdoors.com. Let me see if I got this right. Bo is wearing the Earl tonight, I believe. Is that right?
The Earl with my own little, how should I put this? I can't. Embroidery improvement where it says
other side.
What do you do? Other side.
There it says Texas. Right
there you go. He was messing with the wrong side.
I'm not real bright when it comes to the video screen, so we're
there it is. Day. That is the Earl.
Well, my shirt says Texas on the. Gosh darn it!
Where is it? By the way, if you want the gray version of that shirt, which I have, it's called the Hondo. You can do the gray version of that, but the burnt orange version is the Earl. Chance Mach is rocking. What do you got up there? What do you got there, Chance? A fishing shirt?
I don't know what this is. I moved my studio into the ice box that is my upstairs, and so it's like 60 degrees up here right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm wearing a flannel in the middle of July.
You darn right you are. So Chance has got the flannel on. I'm rocking one of their comfy ass t-shirts. I wear them all the time. I sleep in a Poncho shirt, and I work in a Poncho shirt and do whatever I can when I can in a Poncho shirt. Go to PonchoOutdoors.com. Make sure you mention the Outsiders. Also, fellas, I want to mention this and give them a little love since my man has helped us to move some of the Poncho shirts. This lovely couple has now been married for 57 years.
Holy cow.
Doc and Sylvia. Awesome. Doc and Sylvia just celebrated the 57th anniversary, and there is my dad wearing the Piedras Negras, the long sleeve Western black with the snaps, and it is fantastic. So congrats to them, and then congrats to any of you who get a new Poncho shirt.
In deference to your dad, I always give the horns up, but for him, I'll give him a double thumbs up.
Oh, there it is.
But I am going to throw a little jab at him. For a guy that has independent thinker on his business card, something tells me if he's been married 57 years, there's some input from the young lady on the screen. Yeah. He ain't always thinking independent when it comes to that.
That is true. My parents got married on July 5th, and my dad's joke was always that he needed one more Independence Day. So, all right. And then after that, there were no more Independence Days.
That's a pretty good one.
There you go. A good old man joke. It just gets better.
Independent thinking.
Yeah, the old man jokes just keep getting better. All right, so Jason Dick is not with us tonight. Of course, Chance Mott, the quarterback, Bo Edge, your country gorilla, is ready to roll. Jason Dick is not with us yet, but he's scheduled to be with us. There is a hotly contested, big-time, badass softball game going on as we speak. Maybe with just wrapping
the
up.
Ligers.
The Ligers, that's right. As soon as he can join us, Jason Dick may jump into the conversation. We got a Mach 5 top 5 later on, kind of inspired by Jason because Jason saw something that pissed him off. And so we are asking Chance to help clarify things for Jason Dick. That's going to be a little bit later on. But gentlemen, let's start with a little, I guess it's kind of recruiting talk, but it's Texas Longhorn talk. Over the last week, a big time 5-star, everybody wants him. Texas really wanted him. Offensive lineman named Felix Ojo decided to commit to not Texas A&M, but to Texas Tech. And it was a huge story. The agent put out that a deal had been signed and it was over $5 million and all this kind of stuff. So I want to get y'all's thoughts on this thing. Bo, give me a thought here, because I've seen and heard from a lot of different Longhorn fans kind of the reaction that they had. What was your reaction to Ojo? You know, you were obviously braced for him not picking Texas, but Tech really surprised a lot of people. So what'd you think of it?
Two things. One, kudos to him for realizing his market value and capitalizing it, because at a position, an offensive line, where you don't really know where it's going to translate up as a 17-year-old versus a 21-year-old, he's set for, I won't say for life, but he has secured his financial future with the talent that he has right now. Good for him, because no one else was giving him 5.1 guaranteed. And kudos to Tech for taking advantage of the timing of the loophole to have him signed before July 1. And that's key, because that's when the House settlement actually takes effect. So any deal that was signed prior to the settlement actually being ratified doesn't count for the cap. So Tech gets Ojo cap free for 3 years. Good for them. Texas, and Ketchum may dispute my premise here because he is all knowing about things that are in the building. But Texas did that for a couple guys where they gave them 2-year deals. I'm not getting into the names, but there are a couple prominent stars who are sophomores who signed guaranteed 2-year deals as part of locking it down prior to July 1st. So Texas has a couple guys that won't hit their cap for a couple years. The premise to that being that exception is gone now. There is no going back. So starting next year, the salary cap is really in play. We can call it what it is, but it's roughly $17 million is what every team's spending, and $3 million goes to the other sports. And then real NIL deals have to supplement the rest. So Texas wasn't willing to go to the financial areas that Tech was willing to, because let's be real. Texas is looking to sign multiple guys of Felix Ojo's caliber, not one, and being done. Tech got their guy. Good for Tech. They made their splash. And hopefully the young man does really well in the Big 12 and we never see him again.
Chance, I love getting your perspective on things Longhorn and Red Raider, because you have a unique perspective on this situation. So what'd you think when you saw that Ojo was picking Lubbock?
Well, I'll say this. So my brother, Chase, played at Texas Tech. He played offensive line, and he played with a guy named Cody Campbell.
Wow.
Okay. So let me say this. Good on Felix for getting his money. I have no problem with it. I think the way they did it was fine. They did what they had to do to get their guy locked in. I agree with everything Bo said. I also think this. I think for Cody Campbell, I think it's great. He went and made his money, and he's trying to make his mark on his school. And how cool that he can go as a former offensive lineman and steal this big, bad 5-star from right out underneath Texas and Texas Tech. Good for him. There's a guy on the radio, and not to get it political because I don't want to, but he likes to say, what's the point of having FU money if you don't say FU?
Yeah.
And I completely agree with that. I think Cody went and got him a guy, and he's doing a good thing. That being said, it doesn't bother me one bit. Offensive line, well, we have loved to have him. I'm not with these Texas fans that are on X and they want to, throw shade at the kid or whatever. He got his, man. Don't be mad at him, because you'd do the same thing if you were in his shoes. And that's the thing that people, they want to throw at these kids that are 17 years old. It's life-changing. It's life-changing money that's coming his way. That being said, Texas is going to get theirs. A&M is going to get theirs. A&M has been on a hell of a run. I mean, they've done a great job. So, yeah, you missed out on one. It's going to happen. You just you take it and you move on.
So a little point to that. One, Texas got John Turntine the next day, and he's also a top 50 offensive lineman who projects better at a tackle right now.
That's a first. By the way, fellas, y'all enjoy your first world problem of getting John Turntine, and somehow that's bad news.
The only thing that I would say about, and I don't want the people on, I'm not like the people on X. I'm not disparaging Felix Ojo, but I do think him and his agent handled it in a poor way from a character standpoint. You signed the deal before July 1st, and that's a known fact now because Tech had to use it to stay out of the cap from the House settlement. Don't go through the song and dance and lead other schools. If you're signing with Tech, then cool. Sign with Tech, people along the way, because the only thing that does is it just sets a bad tone for the room. Like, but I don't like yanking people around, and not just Texas A&M and other schools. He's putting them in his top 4. He's having a ceremony when he signed a contract the week before. If you're going to be a big man and take the 5.1 and sign a piece of paper, then sign the piece of paper and say it. You don't play games, because you never know when that's going to come back and haunt you later in your life. That's all I'm saying. Don't yank people around.
Real quick, fellas, let me make sure I'm you see how y'all understand this, because Bo, your point is so interesting to me about how to avoid that one time you can kind of avoid the cap. Is y'all's understanding that to avoid the salary cap stuff, Tech has to pay him all the money before July 1st? Or is it just that he signs it before July 1st?
I believe it was that the contract was executed prior to the implementation.
And there is some language that I haven't dove into the legality. A significant portion had to be paid up front.
Yeah, because I know for a fact, I know Jeff Ketchum has had conversations with people on the inside that believe that you have to pay them by July 1st for it to have worked.
Well, I read that too. I'm not going to play Perry Mason Esquire on TV. I'm just going to say he had to get a big chunk of it. Now, whether they were able to defer some of it or whatever, I don't know the legality. But the premise of it fitting and not counting towards the cap was it had to be money already spent, or this is the key word that I read, or allocated, which means there's a binding contract, which is why they may not have to give him 5.1 today, but they may have to give him half or whatever the rules it requires. But basically, he doesn't count toward Tech's cap for the next 3 years because the deal was done. Like I said, I know of 2, and I'm not getting into names because it's their personal business. I know of 2 Texas Longhorn football players that signed multi-year deals. That was and this was back in February. So in order for Texas to get around it.
So this is kind of like the opposite. Sort of like the opposite of the NFL, because in the NFL there's dead money. Chance, is this creating live money? Is that what this is?
It's the opposite of it. And to go back to a thing you said, and this is where I think it's very interesting. We truly don't know what's in these kids' minds, but the thing with John Turntime, if I'm in the locker room, especially in today's world where money is so in your face and it's such a big part of decision making, there is a little silver lining to a guy that I feel like wanted to come to Texas anyway. I feel like John Turntime probably may end up a Texas Longhorn. If we were playing in my day, I feel like he wanted to be there and he wants to be in that locker room. I'm not saying Felix didn't. I don't know. I think when they weighed that money in front of you, that may change some things. And I'm not saying he didn't want to be in the locker room, but I think there's a win there to get a guy of Turntime's caliber that wanted to come anyway. I don't think it's a bad deal. And good luck to Felix and have fun with it.
And Felix earned his 5-star, but Chad, you work with Catch all the time. A lot of time, the difference between a high 4-star and a 5-star is the potential of where the 5-star can go when they fully develop. Ojo has the frame of a NFL prototype left tackle. He's tall and wide. He hasn't filled in with the muscles yet. He only weighs 295 or 285 pounds. You're not going to see a starting left tackle in the SEC or any other Power 5 conference at 285. Now, can he put that weight on by the time next football season? He's still got a year of high school left. He can put that weight on, but that's where Texas has seen that bubble burst a few times with highly recruited offensive linemen that dominated at the high school level and didn't grow into their bodies effectively, or got to university and realized beer is really good and they don't put on healthy weight. I mean, Chance, you played with linemen that were highly, highly touted that either due to injury or just not growing into their frame, it didn't quite work out. Whereas you played with guys like Justin Blaylock, who were not highly regarded and all of a sudden grew into their body and got into a professional weightlifting program and not small school stuff, and all of a sudden blossomed. Offensive linemen and defensive linemen are the 2 toughest positions to pinpoint where they're going to be at when they're juniors and seniors in college versus when they're in high school. Skill position guys, you do, but I go back to when we were talking about the portal. And again, let's differentiate talking about these 2 guys and just the position in general. I told y'all this may have been one of our earlier shows and during the 2023 season
that I said, if I'm not recruiting offensive and defensive linemen. I can recruit edge guys because speed kills. And if you can see a guy that can get low and come around that edge and set up moves, that guy you can develop. But interior defensive linemen and offensive linemen, to me, I would be hitting the portal for those guys because you need guys that you know can play at the next level. They're the number one, to me, the number one bust that you will get is offensive linemen and interior defensive linemen, just because it's so hard to see if that translates. Because speed is always going to be speed. Skill is always going to be skill. But bigger and stronger, when you're the guy that's 320 in high school and you're going against defensive ends that are 240, that are running 4.8s and 4.9s, it's a different monster than when you get on there with guys that are 275, 280 that run 4.5s. And sometimes when you're in that arena where you're battling strength on strength, they're not quite as good as you thought they were going to pan out to be.
Well, look at how Texas has approached defensive tackle recruiting over the last 3 years. They are either swinging for the fences for the absolute best in the country kind of guys, or they're just going to go to the portal and get an all-conference guy from Purdue or California. Look at what we did with tight end. We went and got an All-American from Cal because he didn't want to play at Cal, and he didn't want to be in an also, not ACC isn't an also-ran conference, but it isn't the SEC or the Big Ten, and everybody knows it. So he had the opportunity to go from Cal to here, and Endries is taking that. There are certain positions that aren't necessarily going to start as true freshmen, and you have to develop them. Well, at this point with linemen, you take the elite of the elite. You take a Felix Ojo. You take the guy that's going to most likely start for right tackle, Brandon Baker for us, 5-star guy. You take those guys because then you can build them. The days of schools taking 5 or 6 linemen on either side of the ball as projects to develop them, for the bigger schools like Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, why do that when you can just go get the best guy that's available as a junior from another school? Like, you can't do that with skill position players because the money in a cap world, in an NIL world, Ryan Williams from Alabama, if he went somewhere else, would demand $2 million. So you recruit him as a freshman, Jeremiah Smith. You get those guys young, and then you pay them once they've developed. The other guys that now want money, and this is the NIL part of it too, an offensive lineman who's rated in the top 100 but not in the top 10 still wants $1 million to come to your school because someone's going to pay him. Well, some schools like Texas have developed a system where they're not going to pay for those positions until we know what you are body-wise. And I think it's smart from Sark. I think it's smart from Ojo to take the deal. That's the new world we live in. Linemen are not going to be sought after as much in recruiting.
Off and running on the outsiders. Let's thank one of our great partners. They are Covert Ford.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Covert, and since 1909, the Covert family has been committed to Austin's community. For 116 years, we've grown with Texas, driving progress, building trust, and serving the Austin community. Whether it's the all-new 2025 F-150 or the versatile 2025 Ford Maverick, we're here to help you find the perfect fit, just like we've done for generations. At Covert Ford, it's more than cars. It's about family, service, and a legacy of trust. Visit covertford.com and become part of our story.
Shout out to Covert Ford. Also, as we mentioned at the top, a shout out to the good folks at Poncho. Let's show you a little bit more of the Poncho stuff here with Mr. Willie Robertson. And what we learned is that Willie Robertson, he knows a good Poncho shirt, and he likes some of the same Poncho shirts that we do. I know Chance is going to recognize at least one of these. Now, I don't know if anybody has this one, but I like the Ahi. Now, do you have that one?
I wore it to work today.
There it is. See, Chance wore it to work. The Ahi. This is the normal button stuff. Willie seems to be into the normal standard button. We generally like the Western button. But
that's my favorite one I've had yet. I will say that.
The Ahi is?
Color-wise, yes.
Okay, yeah, really nice blue there for the Ahi. Willie catching a fish. How about on the green? I know Chance likes this one. How about that one?
Oh, yeah.
Got the amen. Yeah.
That's on my Masters weekend. That's what I'm wearing.
There it is. Got the club in his hand. Got the Duck Dynasty tat on his arm at the grill. Wait, I've got that one. I know that one. The Lano. That's a really nice shirt. And that is the snap version right there. That is that Western. If it's the Lano or if he's Boss Hoggin. I'm not sure how to Boss Hog, but the Burnt End, one of the better names that they've come up with. There's Willie rocking the burnt end. And if you don't know, look at all this stuff. Original, the Western, the ultralight, the denim, the flannel. They've got all kinds of cool stuff. And yes, if you are into Duck Dynasty, yep, Willie loves them Poncho shirts too. Shout out to Poncho. Go to PonchoOutdoors.com.
So Chad, you mentioned him and that beautiful amen there, and speaking of golf, did any of y'all happen to catch the genius that wanted to pick a fight with a former hockey player on the golf course?
No, but that sounds really stupid.
It is so great. He's playing slow, and they're like, get him off the course. Let's go. And he's standing on the tee box challenging this guy. Little did he know, former NHL hockey player who first threw him in the pond. Then every time he hit him, it was like watching the WWE. He's like, bam, bam, bam. He's literally giving the sound effects while he's hitting this guy.
Wow. Oh, so he's like yelling while he's hitting him.
Yes.
He was Emerald Lagasse. He's like, oh, you want more? Bam! He'd get on the ground. He'd pick him up. He goes, you want another one? Okay. Bam! He'd fall down again. And then he picks him up and just throws him in the bushes.
Dude, if you're going to fight a hockey
player. We're leaving. And he's like, I got more.
Fighting a hockey player. Yeah, fighting a hockey player for the Ocean's 11 fans. That's like stealing from Terry Benedict. You better GD know. You better know what you're doing if you're going to fight a hockey player.
You know my neighbor. I won't name him by name, but the owner and proprietor of Hoodoo Crawfish. Great guy. Absolute amazing guy. But he looks just like the guy that was getting his ass kicked. So we got sent it from a golf group, and they're like, is this him? Did he go on? Now, the guy was Canadian, so it's not my neighbor, but he's about the same size, same, facial hair. He's like, he's getting his ass whooped by a big dude.
The best part is, though, Chad, if you watch him, you can tell he was a hockey player because he grabs him by the shirt and he holds him. He's like, bam!
He's got the distance, right?
He's got the stance.
I really just hope that the bam wasn't like an added sound effect from whoever put the video out, because he is like, bam! Bam! Like he's yelling bam every time he demolishes the dude's face.
That is awesome. Hope y'all are enjoying the Outsiders this week. Hope everybody is having a good time. Maybe if you're out on a golf course, we'll tell you about a golf course to go play here in a little bit. Chance, before we get to the Mach 5 top 5, and I'm excited tonight because Chance is going to give us his 5 favorite college football rivalries. Jason saw a list of the top 25 college football rivalries, and apparently he's pissed off about the list in some way. So we had the list to show you, but we also have Chance's 5 favorites. So we'll probably let Chance lay out his 5, and then we'll show you the full list after that. That's coming up.
I do have a text update. I think you have it as well from the honorable Jason Dick.
Oh, good God.
First off,
what did we get?
The Ligers lost 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
That is not too shocking. I think they lose every time they play.
Mm-hmm.
But our boy went 1 for 2 with a walk. And his hit was an infield hit, and he hashtagged it deceptively fast.
He legged it out. Good boy.
I want to know what team he was playing where Jason Dick legged out a single in slow pitch softball.
Hey, you know what they say? Bo, you know what they say about the bat and ball sports. You watch long enough, you'll see something you have never seen before.
Well, and he added that his GPS says he will be home at 9:47.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to drive real fast and shave that down a bit. So let's make sure it's 9:36 on my dial. So in an hour or in 10 minutes, he should be here. So it should be right at the back end of the Mach 5 top 5.
Beautiful. All right. So before we get to Mach 5 top 5, Chance, I want you to talk about a scenario for me because it hit me today. What if Chance Mach was Chance Mach, badass 5-star quarterback in the 2026 class? Where would he end up? And it occurred to me to ask you, based on what you know about Texas and Texas Tech right now, if you were in this class, what would the argument look like for you? I know you've talked about like your dad's opinion of Tech back then, but we're talking about right now with what's going on with McGuire, with this momentum, with the oil money from the dude from Campbell who you're talking about. Plus, you know what's going on with Sark and all of that. What kind of decision would that be for you if this was you right now?
If it's me right now and and I got to be careful how I word this because I don't want – if I want to be professional ready, NFL ready, I'm going to Texas all day long. If my goal is to end up in the NFL as a quarterback, I'm going to Texas where I'm playing for Sark, where I'm playing in big environments, where I'm playing against SEC defenses to where I can show what I can do in that league. If I'm going to, if I think I got a shot to go have some fun, sling the ball around, throw for 8 million yards, have a little fun out in West Texas, and let's see what happens, I'm going to Texas Tech. If the money's $5 million, I'm going to Texas Tech.
Yeah, right. If they gave you the Ojo deal, you might go to Tech.
As someone who knows you well, that would be the worst thing that ever happened to you, but it'd be a hell of a ride to get there because at the end of 3 years, that 5-1 would be negative $1 million because of loans taken out against potential earnings.
Those would just be the markers at the casino.
Yeah.
What do they call that? A beautiful disaster? That's what that would be. It would
that'd probably be good for me to keep me in West Texas away from all those casinos. But yeah, I think if you are a pro, if you're a quarterback that's coming in, look at Arch and what the opportunity he has. Look at Nessmeyer, the opportunity he has. Lagway. I mean, all these quarterbacks that you go through in the SEC and what opportunity they get to show professional teams as they play against these defenses. And it's a more pro-style offense that you're seeing week in, week out. They're showing what you can do. Can you hit those mid-level throws? Can you hit the deep ball? Can you hit the post? Can you do these things that we're going to ask you to do in the NFL? And I don't know that – I mean, the Big Ten and the SEC are the two closest things you can get.
Well, the one caveat to what you're saying, though, and it's the presumptive number one quarterback taken this year in the next NFL draft, is at Clemson. It's the Cade Klubnik from Westlake who went to Clemson. Clemson and a couple other schools in the ACC. I'll throw Notre Dame in there, even though they're not an ACC team. There's a couple teams that have a higher level of cachet within those conferences where it makes sense. Klubnik's not getting downgraded because he played at Clemson, who's won 2 natties in the last 10 years in a more pro-style set with Dabo Swinney. But not every team in the ACC is like that. Hell, not every team in the SEC is like that. First-round picks aren't looking to go to Vanderbilt or Kentucky or Mississippi State.
Diego Pavia's offense isn't getting him ready for the NFL?
How dare you, Bo?
Getting him paid, though.
You know who would disagree with you, Bo? Bama's defense from last year. They couldn't get the ball from him. He held the ball for 42 minutes, Bo.
Let's be real. Bama's defense couldn't get the ball away from anybody last year.
OU included. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. You're right. I shouldn't have used that as an NFL bar.
It wasn't that Pavia excelled. It was that Alabama just did what Alabama's done all freaking season.
Yeah,
I mean, they made Carson Beck look good.
You're right.
I mean, but back to the question though, Chad. I mean, look, when I went to Texas, the Big 12 was a lot different than the Big 12 when it dissolved. Mm-hmm. And people need to remember this. Nebraska was playing for national championships. Kansas State was playing for national championships. Oklahoma was playing for national championships. Texas, I mean, it was a big conference, and it did very well. I'd like to go back and look at we did well against SEC teams when we played them. And so it was a different world back then. But in today's world, I'm sorry, but the Big 12, there's not a lot of excitement. Of course, on those campuses, they're going to have a good time. That's their schools. It's no different than anywhere else, and that's great. But if you want to play in big-time games, right now there's 2 conferences, and those are the 2 you got to go to.
Yep.
And look at it.
And that's sad because USC is not they're one that they had to make the jump because think about what the Pac-12 became.
Had to get into that big conference.
Well, think about there's a lot of reasons and there's a lot of justifications for why Shedeur Sanders slipped to the 5th round. One of them I would contend is that he only played against Big 12 caliber defenses, and that was one of the knocks. You can take all the attitude and all that things. They didn't have the faith in his ability to light up real defenses. That was part of it. And I don't prove me wrong because I think that played a role in it because he was at Colorado playing against Kansas. If he'd have been at Mississippi playing against Florida, it may have been a different story for Shedeur Sanders. And I think you don't see too many Big 12 quarterbacks in the last 5-6 years going high because there's a reputation for that conference, and it ain't about playing strong defense.
All right, gentlemen, there's a first coming on the Outsiders. People can now no longer say that we're not snobby enough because one of our big-time partners has a damn black card. I want everybody to check it out. The good folks at Last Stand Hats have a black card. You want some black card membership? Look at that big bad thing. Look at it. Look what you get. 30% off everything forever. Free Last Stand locker room hat, early access to all drops, a swag bag every year, access to the locker room, private shop with members only gear, a numbered metal. Look at this beautiful thing. Look at that beautiful thing over there. Founding member welcome kit, the raffles, drops, and collabs, first name and your member number listed on the loyalty wall. Only 399 cards will ever be made. Once they're gone, that is it. Get to laststandhats.com and check it out. Even if you love UTEP. Come on, baby. You can do it. Come on, Miners. Let's go. Let's get out. Whoa. Wait, they redirected. There is no UTEP page. They redirect to the no product. I'm sorry. No, there it is. Never mind.
I'm not getting a black card till I get a UTEP hat.
That is it. Check out the cool.
We'll call the owner of Last Stand and see if we can make that happen. But that really is a good deal. Like, if you think about it, if you buy a lot of hats,
good stuff. Yeah, 30% off forever. 30% off forever at Last Stand.
You can own the entire collection of the Outsiders legitimately worth a shit hats.
Come on,
and pay it off in no time at all.
Getting 30% off all that? Are you kidding me? All right. I think it's just about time to get into this Mach 5 top 5 because I'm interested to see what Rivalries Chance wants to get into. Before we show you the big banner, Bo is going to tell you about this great company. It's Integro Construction Services. Bo, let them know.
We've talked about the Go Nano technology. We've talked about the way to make your roof better long-term with the Go Nano technology that they are the only licensed dealer of in Central Texas. It makes your roof, it adds 5, 10, maybe even 15 years of life to your roof. It's very simple. They come in one day, spray your roof. It reinvigorates the shingles in your roof. It adds a layer of protection against sun, wind. It just makes your roof better. And it's basically like a steroid shot or an HEA shot to your roof. It reinvigorates it and gives it more life. But that's not all Integro can do. They are a full-scale construction services company. So if you have projects that need done this summer, if some of the storms damage your property, Integro is who you call. The number is 987-1273. Throughout the state of Texas, they are based in Central Texas, but they will come to you in Houston or Dallas or West Texas or wherever you need it. Integro Construction Services, 987-1273.
There you have it. All right, kids, it is just about that time. Now, Chance, before we show the billboard, let me make sure I'm right on this. You want to present your 5 here before we look at the big full list, or do you want to see the big list first?
I'll do mine.
That's what I thought. Okay, just wanted to check. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a Mach 5 Top 5 presented by Integro Construction Services. This week, it is your top 5 favorite college football rivalries. We're less than 60 days away from that first big weekend when Texas goes to Columbus, when LSU goes to Clemson. Alabama's actually going to play a true road game to start the year. Do you believe that? Not one of those weird cushy pillows in Atlanta. No, man, they're going to Tallahassee to start the year. We're less than 60 days away. So, Chance, hit me. Your 5 favorite college football rivalries.
Well, it was hard for me not to put the world's largest pillow fight, the billionaires pillow fight with Yale and Harvard in the list.
Mm-hmm.
But I really fought it off putting them in the list.
Okay.
So my number 5, just because I've always loved it, not because there's a band named after them. No, it's because Florida and Georgia.
Just in time, ladies and gentlemen. Just in time to hear the Mach 5 top 5. Jason Dick is in the house. But the Ligers won?
No, we lost 7-5 in a classic beer league softball pitchers duel. But your guy did leg out in infield hits, all right? So
hey,
don't
you know what?
I have to ask, because
well done.
We announced that about 10 minutes ago, and I was waiting till you got. Did they have to bring some kind of medical device on the field for one of the infielders that got hurt fielding your ball?
How dare you, sir?
Did two guys collide?
No.
Jason, don't even listen to his smack. Describe the play for us. How did you leg out an infield hit?
I put it in the hole. Okay, the shortstop has to range to his right. Made a pretty good stab to get it, but I unhitched the trailer, and once the the momentum starts going, okay, inertia, baby. I'm accelerating at 9.8 meters per second. Wait a minute, no, that'd be if I jumped off a building. Anyway, I'm picking up speed. And I beat out an infield hit. That's the way I work.
Were your teammates playing Chariots of Fire?
How dare you? Right?
In the background.
I'll have you know, Bo Edge, I am only the fourth slowest guy on this team. Okay.
Nice.
Our game isn't really built around speed.
So, Jason, do you guys play with that extra first base where you're sprinting towards the extra first base? Because I love that thing.
Orange bag. Yeah.
Love it. Love that. It's such a good idea. And they're using that now, like at big time. Yeah. They're using that in college baseball now. It's a hell of an idea. Exactly. All right.
Hey, speaking of fast, you guys should see how I just drove, okay? Do you see the F1 movie? They should fire Brad Pitt and put me in that movie, okay? Because goddamn.
Jason Dick is here, and he hasn't even missed Chance's number 5. We are ready for Chance's number 5.
Let's go.
The top college football rivalries. Chance, what is it?
Well, Jason, you missed. I had to throw out Yale-Harvard. It is a gruesome battle, but I had to throw it out. It was a little struggle with my local, the Battle of the Piney Woods between SFA and Sam Houston. That's kind of a fun little deal.
They don't do it anymore. It's dead.
It's dead.
They got rid of it.
Yep. So, but anyway, my number 5, not because they have a band, Florida, Georgia. Always love the Florida-Georgia game. It's a great one. Brings a lot of energy. Those fans don't like each other. You're going to see a theme in mine, with the exception of one. There's a lot of states involved here.
Okay.
Number 4, it is a great game. It's cold up there. You get fights. It's a good one. Michigan, Ohio State. That's numero cuatro.
Yeah.
Number 3, this is the one that's the anomaly, and it is Auburn, Alabama. I think it's one of the greatest college football games. It's on my bucket list. I've got to go see one of those at some point because it's intense.
Iron Bowl's the Iron Bowl.
Number 2, because I love the red, white, and blue and our soldiers and our seamen,
Army, Navy. All right.
Although they need to quit moving that game around and just play it in Philadelphia and call it a day.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like it moving around.
Yeah, they did it in Washington recently. Is that the last spot?
They did it in Washington. Well, they did it in Washington, Baltimore,
then maybe they did it in DC, maybe
New York. They did it in MetLife.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It's Army Navy. They could play that thing in Cedar Rapids, and to me, I don't care. But I get what you're saying.
Weekend, like it's got its own. It's its own deal. Like it's set aside. I love it.
I got you. Okay. All right. So if we're to this point and number 1's coming, I got a feeling like I know what number 1 is. But go ahead, Chance.
Because there is only number 1. There is no other rivalry out there that has had more top 5 matchups. There is no rivalry out there that has had more hatred, more vitriol. There is nothing about those land thieves that's worth a shit. Texas
Baylor.
OU.
Oh, I thought he was going Tech Baylor. Texas OU. Texas and Oklahoma at number 1. All right, Jason Dick, you arrived in time to hear the entire list. The cocktail party at 5, Michigan, Ohio State at 4, Iron Bowl 3, Army Navy is 2. He's got Texas OU at number 1. Do you have an edit?
Oh yeah. Guys are gonna hate it.
Okay.
So first of all, forgive me. I'm still winded from beating out that infield hit. Did
Drink
we
some more of that Mountain Dew?
Chad, help me.
Vince Coleman, he is not.
Did we put the graphic from the Atlantic up?
We have not. No, we're gonna wait. We're waiting. We want to wait until Chance got his out.
Okay.
If you'd like, but we have not shown the full graphic.
Okay,
yet.
That's fine because I have more beef with them than I do with Chance. Although, look, man, I don't love it, but Michigan, Ohio State is number one. Okay. I believe that to be the best rivalry in college football.
Okay.
Auburn, Alabama. I do think Texas OU is better than that, but I'll tell you this much. Nobody from either side has ever gone to prison for poisoning a tree in this rivalry. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a feather in their cap or what the deal is there.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Yeah. I love that you got Florida, Georgia in there. And when we put this list up later, you're going to see how low that is. And you're going to be astonished.
That was a shocker. That's a shocker on this top 25.
But God damn, I hate to do it, all right? But
what are you doing?
Look, I hate to be unpatriotic.
Oh, you commie
but
bastard.
I wouldn't.
What are you about to do?
I mean, I am the token tree-hugging, America-hating liberal on this program. So tell me how much you love an Army-Navy. The Army-Navy game is two unranked teams featuring usually 0 players who are going to play in the NFL. It's not even played during the regular season, right? Like they play it after the college football playoff has been selected. Am I correct?
We're sorry, America. We're sorry.
It's
always my birthday weekend.
It's effectively an exhibition game. Like if you're asking me, I mean, I don't know. Tell me 3 players who played in the Army-Navy game last year. Like, honestly, if I wanted to be a real dick here, I would tell you that I feel like Texas Tech is a better rivalry than Army-Navy.
I love that you said if you wanted to be a real dick here.
Yeah,
as you're throwing this argument.
I wouldn't say that, Chad, okay? No. Only if I were to be a real dick, okay? But I'm not. Okay. I'm not saying that.
So theoretically, if you were going to be that level of Jason Dick, and you're taking Army-Navy and you're kicking them all the way out, who goes to number 2?
I'll go full dick on this one, okay? And I don't agree that they should be 2, but now we're gonna have them 1 and 2. I'm gonna put Texas and Texas A&M in for Army and Navy because that is an incredible college football rivalry that should be played on the evening of Thanksgiving, and it would be up there, okay? It would.
I don't even think Chance and Bo and I agree with that.
It would still be up there if not for you stinking ass quitting. I'm taking my ball and going home Aggies. Okay. We have wanted to play you every year for the last 15 years. And you guys were like, we're the SEC now.
Hold on.
Can't a team just go off and try to find their own way for 12 years and then get forced back into the game? Can you just be patient?
Go. Curiosity question.
Yes.
What way did you find? You're the same team that loses when it matters as you did before you left.
How dare you?
Right. How
dare you?
What did you find on your epic road trip journey? At the end of 12 years, what did you learn?
Gentlemen,
look, sometimes you get to the end of the trip and you just think, you know what? Sometimes it's about the journey, all right? And it's not always.
And all the journey taught you was that we're going to whoop your ass most years.
Look,
and once in a while, you get lucky.
If you want to go to the SEC a decade and a half before Texas, great, go. We could still play you guys every year, just like Georgia and Georgia Tech. Just like I mean, I don't know. I don't know because I don't care about these schools. Are Army and Navy in the same conference? They play each other every year, right?
Look, first off, they are in the same conference, and they almost played for a conference title last year. They almost played twice last year. It could have happened.
Oh, my God.
I thought this was a discussion about rivalries, not Jason's opportunity to rip the Aggies and then have Bo rip the Aggies. Like, well, how did that get?
Hey, man.
How did that happen?
They gave Doc Hastings a thumbs up.
You guys played the goddamn the fight song on TV with the karaoke lyrics at the bottom of the screen last year. All right? Look, this is vitriol. This is a rivalry.
We live in a world where in late 2024, the entire world had got to read the words hullabaloo, connect on national television. That did happen.
Do you know why I don't have that high, though?
Why is that?
Because it never means anything. Like, that's really it means pride. But nationally, where's the Ohio State, Michigan, where they're playing for who's going to go to a national championship?
Chance.
To the Texas, Oklahoma.
Chance.
Chance.
Normally, I get kind of what you're saying, but the return engagement, the winner goes to Atlanta.
I get it.
Right?
But
like the winner of that game plays for the SEC title. I get that the Aggies didn't show up towards the end of the year, but
I'm saying
that still was true.
No, this year was great.
It won't be true. It was true last year. It won't be true this year because A&M isn't going to be anywhere near the SEC title game.
Once again, I'm
now
not.
In 2 years, when all those recruits come to fruition, maybe the team. I'm sorry, Marcel Reed ain't the guy. I've said it from day one. You're not winning. You're not going to the SEC championship with Marcel Reed as your quarterback. Not in a world where you can go get a real quarterback that can throw the ball, not just run around and once in a while flick it to somebody.
All right. Clearly,
it ain't happening. A&M is a 7-win football team.
Clearly a vicious plot to bag the Aggies in tonight's show. I thought we were going to talk rivalries. Apparently, this is not an adult conversation. So let's go to Bo. Bo, the house-divided rivalry, which features the Longhorns and apparently a complete garbage team, is now up to number 2 somehow on this list. What is your edit, if any?
Sorry. As myopic and Texas homer as I can be sometimes, this list can't have Texas in 2 of the 5 games. There are other rivalries in Texas.
I was going to say, do you want to add Oklahoma, like 1 and 3?
Well, for anybody that I know that attended the University of Texas, Texas-Oklahoma is the rivalry. Texas A&M is a rivalry, but it is not the rivalry. If you ask most Texas fans if they were winning one of those 2 games every year, they'll pick Oklahoma every day of the week and twice on Sunday, because as Chance alluded to, most of the time that actually means that can get you somewhere. Think of back in Chance's day. Think of other in the 2000s where if Texas had beaten Oklahoma, they're in the dance. Chance's I think your average against A&M was something like 51-7 over the phone. It was huge.
Average 17-point margin.
Yeah, it was massive. The game it mattered because you went to high school with Aggies, and there's a lot of smack talk. But at the end of the day, anybody whose fight song has the words hullabaloo, knick is not in a rivalry top 5. Sorry, real words must apply.
I don't hate the Aggies.
To be a complete dick like Jason, I'm gonna replace it with Cal Stanford.
Oh dear God! Here we
go.
Well,
I was giving you an out to replace one, Chad.
Cal Stanford.
It means more nationally than Texas A&M.
That is.
I'd say the same amount. I'd say.
Now there's just. It's just.
I'm just saying. Nationwide, in many years, people tune into Texas Oklahoma as the game of the week. Unless you went to Texas or Texas A&M or grew up in the state of Texas, there aren't people in Pennsylvania saying, "Ooh, Friday night, it's Texas versus Texas A&M." No, they're not.
Yeah, I cannot believe.
Part of that is because the game went away for 12 years. It's going to take a while for it to gain its national appeal again.
Yeah, I can't believe
don't care as much anymore.
There's a reason that Bo calls me the arbiter of truth, and this week it's just going to have somebody's got to put the big boy pants on and have a discussion. We'll do that after we see the graphic, because I think the graphic is going to be important before I ultimately make my decision. Before we do that, though, let's hear from Specs, who never, ever fail to give you memorable commercials. Watch this.
This summer, when the sun scorches and sanity is one sweat beat away from collapse, a hero rises. Specs, your cathedral of cold cans, your oasis of cool.
No notes.
Wow.
No notes at all. Okay, so gentlemen, let's look at the graphic that started all this discussion. It's something Jason saw that pissed him off. I can't wait to hear what really pisses him off, because here is your top 25 from somebody at The Athletic looking at college football rivalries. And here we go. Sorry if the print is a little small, but we did have to squeeze 25 of them in there. And apologies to the headless Ohio State guy. I tried to make the thing as big as possible. That's what she said. Okay, 1 through 25. And this list, Jason, agrees with you that Michigan and Ohio State may need to be on the very top. Texas OU sitting at 3. Texas and Texas A&M sitting down at 15 on this list. So, Jason Dick, when you looked at it, what jumped out and pissed you off so much about this list?
I guess, was I pissed off? Yeah, I guess maybe. I guess if Chad is the arbiter of truth, can I be the disdainer of misinformation? Because there's so much. Okay, Michigan, Ohio State, I agree. Number 1. Auburn, Alabama, That's fine. I would put Texas OU too, but like Auburn, Alabama, I feel like created Paul Feinbaum's entire career.
Yes.
Did Texas OU make an entire career other than whoever Fletcher who makes the corn dogs is?
Some would say Texas OU helped to make Brett Musburger's career with Oklahoma. No, that maybe
Peter
not.
Gardner is still cashing checks in real estate in Austin based off 4-0.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Texas OU 3 is fine. I shared my thoughts on Army Navy at 4. Although I do want to say, to Chance's point about Texas and Texas A&M and how it never means anything, I'm not really raising this inquiry. But if I was a dick, I would say, when does Army Navy mean something?
Means America, Jason.
Oh, right.
It means America.
That wore the uniform. It's a pride thing.
Exactly.
It means America.
USC Notre Dame is 5. Do the students of USC walk around talking about how much they hate Notre Dame? I think they hate UCLA more, right? Nebraska Oklahoma is 6 is ridiculous. All right. They don't even play each other anymore. How are they 6? What
that was a 70s and 80s deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I would take all of those from 4 through 6 and put them outside the top 10. I like what you did, Chance. I want Florida, Georgia up. I want Florida State up.
How did the cocktail party end up at 12? 12?
Alabama, LSU, maybe this is some Johnny-come-lately stuff, but all the way down at 13, I would move that up. By the way, Aggies, I remember somebody telling me when I said, y'all have no rival in the SEC, you said, no, LSU is our rival. And I said, do they know? Not on the list. Not on the list.
No.
Jason,
top 25 rivalries.
As soon as you make cups commemorating an overtime victory, it becomes a rivalry. You didn't know that rule. There's a unwritten rule.
Hey, cups and rings, boys. Cups and rings.
19 is Kansas and Missouri. Again, do they play each other?
I don't believe so.
That's the best we can do.
Guess who else doesn't play, boys? 25. Bedlam's over.
Right.
Why is that in there? It's a rivalry so good it's done.
Yeah. And I guess you mentioned it before I arrived, Chance, but I mean, Harvard Yale is just Army Navy for smart kids. Okay, that is the egghead Army Navy. Nobody cares. All right, none of those guys.
I tell you, Chatsworth,
that's the hedge fund bowl.
I want to see them in the. You remember the in old school when they have the smarty pants off? All right, I want to see them in that competition. Okay, the not playing football.
Oh my God. Okay, so there's a list. There's a look at the list. I'll tell you another one I think is way too low, gentlemen, for
Washington, Oregon.
For modern times. Hell yes. Washington, Oregon, Huskies, Ducks. Y'all realize how much those people hate one another? That should not be 21. Okay, so as the arbiter of truth, I cannot believe y'all are making me do this, but I think I have to do it. Things need to be first. Cal Stanford's out. That's insane.
I was setting you up to have something to take out, arbiter.
It's insane. And realistically, I agree with what the fellas said. 15 feels about right for House Divided. Like, that's about right to me. I don't know that I would go, and I certainly wouldn't put it in a top 5. Guys, I feel like Notre Dame's got to be in this top 5 somewhere. And it's a battle between the one Jason ripped on, USC Notre Dame, but the one I think I'm going to go with, I'm going to old man it here. I'm going Michigan Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I am. Because every year that I watched them play was special to me. I picked my side. I can't stand Notre Dame because they put nothing on that damn helmet. I love Michigan because they got one of the most badass helmets ever made. And I rooted like hell for them to beat Notre Dame every time. So I'm putting Michigan Notre Dame at 5, and I'm going to slide everything else up. Cocktail party to 4. Michigan, Ohio State can go to 3. I'll put the Iron Bowl at 2 because I'm with Chance. The Iron Bowl freaking matters. It's so unique. It's so special. And it is the only rivalry so good that even though they quit playing for 50 years, we still love it and tell the story of why. And it's just a great game. I never miss. I try to catch a little bit of it every year. I'm with Chance. I'd love to go see it. And I'll let Texas OU stay on top because, A, we're doing what we're doing here. But it is one of the 2 rival games that contains that special quality of let's split the seats, let's split the states, and let's see who's better, and let's just have a freaking wacky party and get legendary. We got to have the cocktail party in here, but I'll go Texas OU because nobody splits the seats like Texas OU does. It's the most special atmosphere ever, and the game has been massive. Will it be massive moving forward? That's for Brent Venables and his fire hose to determine. But I'll leave Texas OU on top, number one.
And Chad, to me, the mark of a true rivalry, with the one exception of Army-Navy, because once they get down on the football field, they go actually fight wars together. So they don't have that vitriol, and that's okay. There has to be true animus for it to be a true rivalry. Sooners hate Longhorns. That's a fact. If you've ever met one Sooner, they despise the Longhorns. And by and large, most Longhorns despise Sooners. Auburn and Alabama hate each other.
Oh, yeah, they do. Back to the tree. Go through that story again. That actually happened, kids.
Florida and Georgia hate each other. Yep. Like, they absolutely despise each other. And this isn't to knock on Texas A&M. This is actually being real in this moment. Outside of that one game, that one day, by and large, Texas Longhorn fans and Aggie fans coexist. You work with people from the other side. You know people from the other side. You have relatives that are on the other side, and you still let them come over for Thanksgiving. There's not a hatred. And maybe that's just the way it works in Texas, where everybody works hard and plays hard and fights hard or whatever. But at the end of the day, you can not like an Aggie, but you would help an Aggie. And I mean that genuinely. Like, if you had a friend that was an Aggie that wore you out and ran his mouth all the time, if he truly needed you, you'd be there in a heartbeat. But that would not hold true for the Sooners. Like, Longhorn fans would be like, fuck, I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire, bud. Have a nice day.
Okay, Bo, I love the comparison. I love what you just laid out. Now, in honor of what just happened in recruiting, where does Tech fall into that discussion?
In the Cal-Stanford conversation?
No, not that part. What I mean is, if you're driving down the road and the Aggie's broken down on the side of the road, you'll stop and help. If the Sooners broken down on the side of the road, you're probably going to throw something at him. What do you do to the Tech fan?
Oh, you help him.
You help him. He's our stepbrother.
They're like
it's like a step cousin.
Shameless plug for the cool new toy that my friend who is an Aggie got me.
Uh-huh.
But I recently acquired, and Chance, next time you come up, you're going to really like this thing. I promise. The Ninja Slushie.
This is the second time you've told us about
this. You told us
about the Slushie machine.
Worshipping the thing. Like, it's going to make me a damn alcoholic if I don't be careful, because you know how easy it is to just pour a bunch of liquor.
We hadn't gotten there yet.
And it's a 7-Eleven Slurpee to go with whiskey or White Russian or Bahama Mama, whatever you want. It's just,
Bo, how did it take you this long in life to start realizing why girls drink in college? Like, what is going on? Bo's like, oh my God, you can blend this up? You could make it like a slushie? Dude, welcome to every college party. What are you doing?
Well, one, I have testicles, but they've slowly dissipated as I've gotten older, so slushie machines seem better. But there's a difference between having to blend. It doesn't blend right. You got this big blender full of concoction. The alcohol settles. It tastes funny in the middle. This is like having your own Slurpee machine with booze. And then when you're done with the booze, like last night, Razor and his buddies made Baja Blast like they do at Taco Bell.
I bet they did.
Sprite, Blue Powerade, hit a button. They all had Slurpees.
I bet they did.
And it was given to you by a Texas Tech fan? Is that what you're saying here?
No, I don't know where it was invented. I know an Aggie bought it for me.
Oh, an Aggie bought it.
Accidentally broke my patio door.
There may or may not be a little less Buffalo Trace in the house after those ones that Razor made too. Just saying.
I would like to point out that my home here in Maynard, newish home, was built and architected by my friend Ryan Reynolds, builder architect, not the actor. But he is a graduate of the Texas Tech School of Architecture, which would make you think I show them favor, but no, exactly the opposite. Okay, it's been like 5 years. My house still isn't finished. All right,
damn. Okay.
You know what? He's like the Mike Leach of architects and builders, okay? 95% of the thing was awesome. But the other 5%, you always were like, oh, come on, man, you were so close.
He's been a little busy coaching the Americanized junior league version of Wrexham. So he's kind of occupied trying to be like Ryan Reynolds for real.
Right. Oh my God.
Exactly.
All right. We got one more of our great partners to thank, and it's a good thing Jason Dick is here because he's got to tell you about the birdies that are available out at Star Ranch.
Not when you text your guy on July 4th, the weekend on Friday night.
Birdie. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, look, if you want to play this weekend at Star Ranch, you got to hustle up, man. Scan that QR code or call them 252-GOLF and set yourself up a tee time. Do not call your guy on Friday night and be like, hey, can I play tomorrow? Because I did that. All right. And that might work at some places, but Star Ranch, it is the best place to play in all of Central Texas. And the tee times do fill up. Why? Because no matter what the weather, if it's tremendously rainy as it has been recently, the course drains. If it's super duper hot and sunny as it's going to be very soon, the course stays lush and green. The greens roll true. You can make putts on these greens. You can make birdies. Okay, I'm just trying to get a par or bogey's fine, but you can make putts. Scoring is available, and if you're not the greatest golfer, not so very punitive when you hit a bad shot. Great place to host a tournament as well. Again, scan the QR code or call them there 252-GOLF for more information on tournaments or to set yourself up a tee time. The Golf Club at Star Ranch.
Yes,
brother can't get no VIP treatment, Bo, on a holiday weekend. I can't just call in.
As I've said,
on the 4th of July.
Set you up with a baker's dozen with a free rounds of golf, and Star Ranch has been very accommodating. You don't ask for a holiday weekend, and after Friday rained out, Saturday is like they're super booked. Then he's like, hey, can you get me before noon? Like, can you text him at 9:30 at night? I'm like, no.
It probably,
I'm telling you no.
It probably wasn't going to go anyway, as two rival golf courses. I don't know. Maybe Star Ranches is playing above the rim, but two other golf courses canceled on me for Sunday, so they can suck a bag of golf balls, if you ask me.
Wow. All right. By the way, I just realized a rare show where Jason Dick is not wearing a poncho shirt. Did you guys not get the poncho jerseys made yet for the Ligers?
No, these are brand new jerseys, though.
They look good. Yeah,
thank you.
Really nice. And something else that looks good. Jason didn't get to see this earlier, so we're going to show it to him. We Are the Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho Outdoors. Oh. Look at that man right there. Maybe the only man who wears the beard even better than Chance Mach does. Willie Robertson of Duck Dynasty. He likes that shirt. Here are some of his favorites. The Ahi, which Chance says he also has. Look at that great fishing shirt right there. Yeah, that's it. There's the Ahi. You got the Amen sinking putts on the course. He's on the grill in the Llano. I got that one. And then he's also in the burn ends. Those are some of his.
I got a burnt ends.
You got a burnt ends? Yeah.
I love the burnt end shirt. Yeah, it's great.
Really nice. For those of you that don't know, the Duck Dynasty crew is actually back for a new season. It's called Duck Dynasty Revival. And when they do the scenes where Willie's just sitting talking to the camera, he's wearing a poncho shirt so far 100% of the time. He's rocking that short sleeve black. It's probably the burn ends. And he just wears it all the time. So you can check that out. But shout out to Poncho. PonchoOutdoors.com. Make sure you mention the Outsiders. Also, Jason might have missed this at the front end of the show. But once again, happy anniversary to my parents. 57 years.
Oh, my God.
Now, and the Piedras Negras is there being modeled by the great Doc Hastings.
So Willie is great, and he is a new brand ambassador of Poncho. So they have Colt McCoy, Willie Robertson, and the Dick Man. I still say Dick Man's at the top.
They got Jason Dick.
The Jason Dick, Chance Mach, Chad Hastings family combo is still their number one brand ambassador.
It's got to be. One of my the Day Tripper. What's his name? Chet Garner. The Day Tripper is also a poncho guy. I've seen that. So I love that Chet is repping them as well. And now Willie's doing. Yeah, everybody's in the poncho. Everybody knows.
Put Doc Hastings at the top. 57 years of marriage.
57.
I don't think I'll do 57 years of anything, including living.
Yeah. 57.
Hey, if you keep running so hard to leg out singles, that'll add 3 or 4 years.
That'll do it,
big boy.
They say that every legged out
and softball, you're good.
Every legged out single takes a year. All right, gentlemen, anything else? Any other outsider business we have to deal with this week? Everybody good? No, good.
Right. Here, do you want to hear just some Oklahoma perspective real quick? Because I just got this.
I would Maybe.
My elementary school best friend, Cody Bradshaw, was a huge Oklahoma fan, which I was a big Texas fan. So made for an interesting October for us every year.
Sure.
But I hadn't talked to him in a million years. He moved back to Oklahoma because he hates himself. But he messaged me on Facebook the other day, and I just said, "Hey, how's it going? Good to hear from you. When are your Sooners going to get SEC ready?" And he just wrote me and said, "Our defense." I think I also said something. I said I'd start with a new coach. He says our defense definitely will be ready, and I think we got a wild card of a quarterback that might surprise some people this year. Venables is our guy. Rome wasn't built in a day, but we'll find out what kind of team we got against Michigan in September. Real quick, Boomer Sooner, says Cody Bradshaw. Venables is their guy, guys. All right, so
when he's their guy, the contract they gave him and the fact that their state is bankrupt, he's their guy. They can't buy him out.
Yeah. By the way, guys, along those lines, I got my Phil Steele's magazine recently. Here's the last comment from Phil Steele about Oklahoma. I believe this is a playoff caliber roster. So despite the rugged schedule, they are also my number one surprise team this year and have a great shot at going from a losing season all the way to a playoff berth.
Wow. Did they move back to the Big 12?
Yeah, right. They host Michigan and Auburn in September.
They haven't changed the rule to where the playoff is just the entire SEC. So finishing 12th in the SEC gets you in the playoff.
Hey, all I'm going to tell people to do is, I'm not saying Oklahoma is going to be great, terrible, whatever. Just go look at their schedule starting with Texas. Just go from that to the bottom.
They did get a good quarterback. He is a very good quarterback.
Wild card.
Apparently he's a wild card too, even though he's in the top 5 for the freaking Heisman odds. So he's really out in left field. Nobody ever saw him coming.
That is already at Arch Manning's house. Okay, don't worry.
He was the number 1 transfer quarterback in the country. He's not a wild card.
Okay, put that in your fire hose and smoke it then.
Put that in your fire hose and smoke it. Texas at South Carolina, Ole Miss at home, at Tennessee, bye week, at Bama, Missouri at home, LSU at home. That's the end of their schedule. Oh, my God.
Playoffs.
Wow.
Playoffs.
We're talking about playoffs?
Playoffs. Good grief. Playoffs? Hey, 2 straight weeks, though, to start the season, fellas. We're gonna get to see Texas go to Ohio State, and the very next week, Michigan goes to OU. So Texas and OU play those 2 schools. If they both get a win, I don't know. The Dallas game gets a little more interesting. A little bit.
Could Oklahoma beat Michigan? Yeah. Michigan's unraveling at the seams. And they're relying on their, $1 million investment. When I say million, I mean $10 million investment from Dave Portnoy and the dude from Larry Ellison to buy a quarterback who has never seen the field. So we'll see how it plays out. But Michigan may not be what they were cracked up to be.
By the way, can I get a reality show where we just bounce back and forth between that woman that's running things at Michigan and this oil dude that's running things in Lubbock? Can I just get those 2 people? I just want this. Call it Wolverines and dirt. Call it whatever you want. I just want to see it. That'd be awesome.
So, all right, man and Gold Digger. Oh wait, no, sorry.
How did I hire an architect from Lubbock? They don't even have 2-story buildings there. What was that?
Hey, you got to be careful now.
Until like 2000, they didn't even serve alcohol in the damn town. What do you think?
Hey, be careful, Jason. One of Doc Hastings' best friends in the world is a legendary architect that lives in Lubbock to this day, and he went to Texas Tech. And he'd tell you there's some architecture out there.
Frank Lloyd Wright.
You should have hired him instead of your guy. Yeah. That's what you did.
I'm pretty sure the 4th nicest building on the Texas Tech campus is the one that Mike Leach locked that wide receiver in.
Oh, I thought it was the porta pot next to the construction that's been ongoing for 25 years.
Was that kid's name James? Something James?
Come on. It was named James.
Yes. Kid.
Right.
Yes. I was going to say he had the same last name as the guy that made up the story. All right. I think that'll do it for the Outsiders this week, kids. Thank you all for liking and subscribing and getting your notifications and all that good stuff. We will be back next week. We debut now Thursdays at 10 in the morning. We hope you are adjusting to the time. Chance, how's your mom doing with the time adjustment? Is she speaking to you yet?
No, not currently. Every time I do talk to her, all she tells me is how she hates it.
Yeah. Well, Chris Bennett, the supercomputer, keeps resetting the air conditioning in my house, I think, because of it. But, you know, we're dealing with it. We're dealing with it. We are glad you guys are able to check it out. Whenever you do, we debut Thursdays at 10 now with the Outsiders. Until next week, y'all take care. And remember, we are the Outsiders, and we are, unlike some rivalries, legitimately worth a shit. See ya.